Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Silicon Valley Tech Podcast. This is the fourth podcast in a series that we plan to cover a lot of aspects. We plan to invite a lot of guests, speakers who have been either technologists or technology entrepreneurs. And we would love all of us, including myself, to be motivated, to be inspired, and to take the first step or that little nudge to make it big ourselves. Um, we've been very fortunate to speak to a lot of such amazing people in the last three podcasts, some entrepreneurs, some people running those businesses and making it really good. And even today, I have someone very special. I would love to introduce him briefly and then would love to have him introduce himself because he is someone who has been in the industry for more than 27 plus years. Dharam Singh, who is a leading PgMP, PfMP trainer, a mentor, an award winning speaker, and also founder and CEO of vCare Project Management. Someone who has been in different domains, in different industries, including IT, telecommunications, government, banking, insurance, and whatnot. Someone who has such a amazing career, who continues to serve the community as well. Someone who has taken this pledge and a vision to promote more on the project management side, make some amazing project managers, some emotionally strong project managers, and that's what we are also going to talk about, and various aspects of management overall. And without further ado, I would love to have him on this podcast. I will be taking up some of the questions, so feel free to add your questions in the chat, and eventually we will try to address and cover everything that we can in this podcast. So let me just invite him and let's get going. Welcome, Dharam.
Varun, thank you very much for the introduction, great introduction, and thank you for inviting me to this your exciting podcast series you have started. I've watched a couple of them, and I think you've done really amazing job
Thank
to
you.
bring the community from the startups to the business owners and the project manager, program managers together on the one channel. So this is a great effort. So thank you for your efforts to make this available to so many people around the world via various channels you have. So good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and appreciate that. This particular podcast is going to be a little special for me, and I'll end. Hopefully, I will end up enrolling in the course myself. Being a program manager myself, this session is definitely close to my heart. I'm really looking forward to some great insights. But before we get into the details, I know I gave a little brief introduction. Why don't you tell
Yeah,
us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about your company as well?
great stuff. So thank you. So yeah, you have talked a lot of things. So I will not go and repeat the same thing. I'd rather tell you, I have spent a lot of time in Australia, 22 years. So, I learned a lot in the whole process as a project manager, program manager, portfolio manager, and started my company there. So it's an Australian company. Now we have a company in the US with the same name. So things are working out. So I have been working with so many professionals around the world, helping them to make them little better project manager, program manager, portfolio managers. So I'm very lucky and fortunate to be involved in so many careers, so many personal lives. I've seen transformation in people, and the personality change, their career change, and their life change. I get to see happy wives. One of my student, his wife was there, and she was very happy. Dharan, thank you for making him PgMP. Because of that, now he's earning double the salary, and I have more money to spend.
Very nice. Yeah,
So
no, more than the money, I'm sure, because this is such a vast career, and such a
exactly.
vast field. Any kind of such learning is obviously going to help us in, a
Yeah.
lot of things. So, Yeah.
So yeah, money I just picked because that's where she was excited about. So as she has
Mm.
more money to spend, anyway. So look, certification is not just for the money, and as you correctly mentioned, it's about
Right.
learning and growing a career into a new phase, or something new, exciting in your life, and make other people more, empower them and let them lead, become better leader in the society. So
Right.
that's something I have been doing, and I'm encouraging my students and whoever come in my connection to become a better leader and let other people also, become leaders in their space. That's
Right.
what it is. Yeah.
Great. Great.
So
Yeah.
yeah, further on that, as I mentioned, 2.5 years I'm now US, and US transition was good, all great, going great, and running this company called vCare Project Management, helping me to work with the professionals around the world. Yeah, just a little bit more. While I'm passionate about project program portfolio management, I'm also passionate about people's health, well-being, spirituality. I'm also a yoga teacher and so many things. Uh, there's so many ways we can grow ourselves, not just about project program, but how can we be healthy and more happy and exciting all the time. Yeah, thank you.
All right, all right. Wow, it's such a vast portfolio. You yourself have a great kind of portfolio, and I'm really impressed, and I'm really looking forward to getting some kind of more insights because end of the day, in these COVID times and in these tough times, people are constantly looking to upgrade their skills, constantly looking to see, if they can make a little bit more money or have more stability of a job and whatnot. So, tell us a little bit about, because I'm also in that kind of same domain, but, from your perspective, how important, let's start with the very basic. Anybody who is not even a project manager, for example, right now, or not in this domain,
Mm.
why do you feel or what do you feel is important to transition to this role? And what are those characteristics, if you can maybe list them, that would make someone a great candidate for being a project manager or a portfolio manager or so forth?
See, project management is a special field. While this is not, taught in the schools and colleges that much, it's not started recently. But still, we have been learning how to become better engineer, doctors, a chartered accountant. But I was not aware of any courses in my school which can make me a better project manager. So, but and the funny thing is, the project management is everywhere. You
Yep.
do anything, it's a project management. And but we learn either by looking at other people, the seniors in offices, or our role models, or maybe by watching some videos and reading some books. That's how we learn. But whatever ways, whatever path you have, it is all about uh, learning the better way of doing projects. Project man, many people call themselves as a project manager, but are they really a good project manager? You can ask the question. You can ask the question to yourself: am I the good project manager? Now, sometimes you feel that you're a project manager because you get the things done, moving around. But is this enough? I'll tell you one example. Where I was working for HP, and the task was very time driven, especially because HP has already sold the cloud infrastructure to many of the big customers in Australia, and they have not started anything on that on the ground. So I was hired, and my manager was talking to me. Look, Dharam, we have unrealistic time frame, and how can we get there? So I'm a process person. I like process, talking about process. And I told him, look, Bob, if you don't ask me my schedule, my this, I think we can get there. Anyway, so I don't want to encourage you to, throw away your schedule or something. But it was about accepting the challenge to make this happen within the time frame.
Right.
So once the project was finished at the time, this was a mega project, 20, 30 million, $30 million work with setting up the two data center and connecting them and onboarding. And within the 6 months, it has to be ready. And luckily, we were delayed only by 5 days. And my manager, Bob, from Melbourne. He's called me, Dharam. I've seen so many project managers. They are all saying they're amazing, but the way you got there is, I have not seen anybody doing this. People sit behind the processes and pretend that they're doing it. So processes are great to make the things easier and faster, but don't sit behind the process. See what else you can do as a project manager to improve the delivery and the get the results for your customer, because the customer is the one who is paying for your project. So at the end of the day, you are supporting, working for a client who's paying to you or to your customer, to your organization. So you have to think from their point of view. The moment you start thinking, you're becoming a better project manager. And keeping them informed and using the right approach, right methodology, right people onto the project, that will make you a better project manager.
Got it. Got it. Great explanation. So, and while you're talking about that, a little bit more on, even as a seasoned project manager or as a seasoned professional, why do you think training or development is important?
See, I will actually share my screen if you don't mind. Is that
Sure.
okay? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a very good question, and we always, think that why waste time, money on the training and the development. Sometimes it may be valid thinking, but most of the time is, we are driven by or motivated by the organization. They don't want to spend money, that's why I don't want to worry about it. So I think you can see my screen.
Yes.
So I think you can see that the topic today is more to how to be a project manager, good project manager, especially in the digital age. Digital age, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
So emphasis on why we need to evolve in the digital transformation. We are going through digital age, and everybody has to one day, now or later, go through the digital transformation. So how can we, or why should we evolve ourselves as a better project manager in this changing environment? And you mentioned earlier, as we're going through COVID stage and we're going through some war situation around the world, and all these are there, but still we still have to, the organization has to grow, evolve from where they are to the new form. We'll not go into this. Yeah. So making training and development a priority. So I will, if somebody as a manager listening to this, hearing this, make sure you see the importance of the training and development of yourself and your staff. And they need to have right skills and right motivation, and they're driven to do the job and work. And if you invest enough time and money to develop them, of course there's a risk they might leave the company or something. But if you don't train them, they will stay as a project manager, which they can do the job but not excelling in the job. So it is one of the important thing is to spend enough time and money onto their development, so they can be a better project manager or better team member and do the job better than what they were doing earlier. So talent development has to be one of the priority of any organization.
True, absolutely. And I can see, you have a slide. Why don't you go through this, and then maybe, I'll chime in some of the questions
Yeah,
while you walk us through this.
sure. So, and the training and development, especially now in this current age, where you don't have to invite a person in the room, and you can learn from the person while somebody sitting in the far away place. Especially because we are in digital age, the technology has grown up or advanced so much, so you don't have to be having face to face. Of course, there's a good advantage of having somebody face to face, but you don't have to wait for that. There are ways you can do the training, like virtual training, or even instructor-led courses, or even the recorded programs. So anything which can help you to learn by and learn the new skills, that should be the priority. Another thing, Varun, is you
Mhm.
know the importance of certification.
Yeah.
Especially the certification brings a differentiator. You are doing the same job, other person doing the same job, but if you are certified, uh, you know, professional in your area, it will give a credibility. Whoever sees you and your profile, they say, okay, yep, at least you have gone through a certain learning process and you become uh, a better professional in your area. So, and earlier we talked about it's not about the money. The certification is about learning some new skills, growing yourself, and believe it or not, money will follow you as well. Career will improve, and people
True.
see you as a different person which you weren't earlier. And I've seen this many, many times in my student when they start a PgMP program, a PfM program, versus when they finish and they got the certification of PgMP, PfMP, they this I can see them, they are the different person. Not just because they have certificate, now their LinkedIn is showing the PgMP, PfMP, but their body language change, their the facial expression change, and that reflected in the steering committee meeting, that reflected when they're interacting with the client.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything you have? Any questions we
Yeah.
have?
No, I think like I said, of course, training, certifications, continuous learning and development is something which should be part of every single field, just not project management. Overall in our life as well, we see. I have some of my friends who are developers, who are engineers. What they learned about 10 years ago, and now they have to kind of not literally unlearn, but they always have to constantly upgrade themselves.
Upgrade
It's
themselves.
always the case, even with the software or a hardware, right? I mean, a software cannot be working on the old version. It has to be upgraded. We constantly, get those software updated. We change, either replace the hardware or we upgrade the hardware as well. So everything needs to be upgraded. So why not an individual and his career, things as well? So I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do such kind of podcast. Is there are people like me, who want to be, like an inspiration to others, entrepreneurs who might be running their own businesses in the next 5-10 years. So we all need to, and we're always scared, we're always worried whether this will work, whether this will not work. So learning is constant. That's how I see, that even if it is project management, program management, portfolio management, and any kind of field,
Exactly.
even in the leadership team, right? Even though they don't actually have to do the actual groundwork, but still they also need to upgrade themselves. So I think that this is such an amazing topic, and I'm really getting inspired already. That like even before the start of the show, I told you I might be a future candidate, and we'll
Yes.
talk about that as well in the later part. But as I see right now, you're also talking about artificial intelligence on project management. Why don't you tell us a little bit? Because we did one of the sessions where we talked a little bit about artificial intelligence as well, machine learning. And since I am in the IoT space, there's
Yeah.
a lot of talk around AI, machine learning, and how these things could transform our life. So why don't you talk about this as well?
Yeah, so this is actually hot topic, and everybody is thinking from if whatever stage you are, whether you're programmer, developer, or entrepreneur, or the project managers. What is the impact of artificial intelligence? What can we do as a project manager to improve our productivity? That's all about it. And there are a lot of repetitive work. The repetitive work can be if you can put some macro or some kind of a system, you just press the button, everything happening by itself. And I'm not saying everything happens by itself. There are some the something happening behind the scene in the computer, which is making the calculations, giving you trend analysis, and many things are happening. So I'm very fortunate to involve with one of the product which is developed by my colleague, a company called VX Digital, and we come up with a product called VXDCC. That is bringing the whole organization in one place, making the real-time, entries and reports coming, warnings coming, alerts coming at any time. And that is where the word is going to be. At the breakfast table, as the project manager, you can see, hey, what's happening with this particular project? What's happening with the activity? You get the warning, and you take the action immediately. So if you can put a lot of things on artificial intelligence or some particular tool system, it can help you to improve the productivity and get the project done faster, better, and go to market can happen very fast as well.
Got it. Got it. And I can see, there is obviously, there's a lot of need for new skills. And when I just mentioned, right, I mean, about the new skills, it's
Mm,
always the constant upgrade that needs to happen. When I started 2013, 14, as an analyst,
mm,
I was doing basic, Excel kind of stuff, and even on the process improvement side, it was more about, basic customizations here and there, setting up those surveys and whatnot. That's how even in my, I think I did a yellow belt project as well. And even in that, the way we increased our efficiency was completely very kind of manualish. And now, with the advent of so many tools, applications, the onus sometimes starts, on some of the applications. So, I would love to kind of ask you this question as well. Companies feel that investing in such tools, applications, might help improve the efficiency, versus they feel, if we buy some well trusted tools, well tested tools,
mm.
that'll give us more benefit versus training their staff. What's your take on that?
So actually, both of them are important. Having a good tool, doesn't make the program work by itself, project work by itself. You need to have right people, right skills,
Mhm.
and they have to be, mentally,
Right.
ready to use this tool. Let's say if I give you a crane, and it's one of the best crane, and you don't know how to use it, then it's waste. So the
Okay.
tools are just good enough to do the job, but how to use the tool more effectively, that comes through various trainings and attitude. Not only just training, attitude and mindset. All this combination will help you to do your job better. But we are very fortunate with all the new technology coming up, with a lot of improvement in with the new systems and new tools. It is helping project manager do the job better. So I remember when I was into my project management, when I was doing the project, we were just relying on Microsoft project. We
Yep.
had some other system, Clarity and other, but they were doing good enough job, but not the best job. So, but nowadays we are looking for automated, real time, fully integrated system, which can help the organization to release some of the non-productive tasks from the project management job into repeated work that can be done by the tool. And we are not talking about replacing the project manager. We're talking about making the project manager more productive, more better, doing the job and focus on getting the job done rather than worrying about the reports, which can be done by the system. Anyway, so to answer your question, we need to have both as good processes, good tools, and people well trained, and attitude, mindset. All of them combination will make the organization successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I see some numbers also you're sharing. You want to talk a little bit about that as well?
So I'm talking about there are every skill is important, but one of the skill such as change management. A lot of program fail because if you're not applying the proper change management. Is one of the example I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Because if I come to you and, hey, Varun, there's a small request, can you add this extra field on this screen? And you just look at me, yeah, don't worry, it's a very simple change for me. And you go and make the change, and when this gone live, something big happened. Your system stopped working. Now the problem happened, now investigation started. What happened? Oh, Varun added this small field, and this is where the data is collected, and it's going to a system where it system did not have enough capacity. Bad. That was the problem. Anyway, so reason we have the change management, or having all right people in change management, to see the change or request from various angles. And these things does not come by itself. You need to learn, you need to build the process and have the right people in the system, and coordinating with right people. That's where the one of the skill project manager has to have a change management specialist in that area. And Varun, let me continue on that. There are various skills, especially in current digital age, are very, very important. Not just project management, program management, portfolio management, but knowing the new skills, especially the security and privacy. the legal and regulatory requirements we have to follow. If you fail some of the, if you're not complying with legal, local legal requirement, then the program or organization can fail altogether. And we're talking about innovative mindset. And the project manager and the team, we look for the new ideas. Data science, very, very important, because we're collecting so much data, trillions of gigabyte or terabyte or whatever you want to get it all. I don't know. I think beyond terabyte, you can know, you probably tell me. There's so much data available in the system. If you don't use it properly, then we are wasting. So that's why the data science is becoming new skills. I mean, as a project manager, you don't have to know, but you need to know enough how to work with the people who understand, who are going to work on the data science skills. Yeah, and leaderships and many other things. Yeah.
Right. I like to kind of add a little bit of or chime in a little bit here. We've talked about how the skills need to be upgraded, and while the tools are important, but at the same time, the individuals have to also upgrade. But are there any kind of secrets, or are there any kind of things that can be done to make some teams, because end of the day, as a project manager, me myself won't work. It has to be a team effort. So
Exactly.
are there any kind of tips and tricks that you can share where we can help build those high performing teams, or we can have teams which are working in synergy towards the common goal, and eventually getting us the desired results in optimal time, and with budget in check?
Exactly. That's one of the very, very important skill as a project manager, program manager has to be there, because you're going to work with so many skills. There are people coming from various industries, different organizations, within departments, and now you have to build a high performing team, and they're going to work in the team. Individually, they can be performing really well, but now they have to work in a team. So, as a project manager, program manager, you need to make sure you take them through a particular, if you know, PMP, PMP. So, we're talking Tuckman ladder. Tuckman ladder is nothing but forming. You form the team and normalizing the team, norming, storming, and performing, adjourning. So, that kind of thing. So, you need to understand that cycle where, okay, I have to get the right people in the team there, and you need to know there initially they may not be everybody ready to work in the team. There will be some kind of conflicts are going to be there, and as a project manager you need to have a good conflict management skills, and and get to the team from storming to performing scale. That's where the skills lies as a project manager, and that's where the stakeholder engagement, some of the emotional intelligence skills are very important, which I will touch base a little later. And collaboration and working together as a team. That's how it's going to be a very good, skilled, high performing team can be uh, created, and that team can help you to do the job better.
Got it. Got it. And another thing, which we initially thought, we should be talking about is, again, you just touched upon it a little bit, that there are always conflicts. There are,
Mm,
teams that can be formed, but then there are sometimes personality issues. There are some, any kind of issues can come up between two individuals, between group members, team members, and also sometimes there is also this lack of, experience or knowledge at times, and then there is always this back and forth that happens between different management and leadership and whatnot. So in this, the one person who kind of suffers the most, if I could call or use the word suffer, is a project manager, and it all depends on how mentally strong that individual is, how emotionally strong a project manager eventually is, because he or she has to take the maximum amount of heat from all the sides, has
mm,
to be more like a servant leader, even though he or she would have a little bit of authority, but at the same time they have to get the work done. So have those kind of negotiation skills, and build on the team, so that eventually all these conflicts are resolved, and the team moves forward. uh, so how would you kind of and based on what you do, train such project managers to become more emotionally strong, intelligent project managers, what would be some of those key takeaways for those people?
Yes, very good question. And because as the project manager, we call as the meat in the sandwich, because you are in middle of the two layers. You are your executives and the senior management, program manager, who are expecting some work to be done, and you have a team. They're expecting something from you. So you're in between,
Okay.
and and you have to play. Your role is very very critical. You are a leader in the whole project. People, your team look towards you. So, as you get started in the project, you need to understand each of your stakeholders. So, one of the things, Varun and whoever is going to do PgMP, PMP, or PfMP, or any other certification, you will learn how to engage with stakeholders. First of all, identify stakeholders. Have a your like one by one list them. Identify who they are, whether they are positive, negatives, internal, external, all kind of thing you have to understand or capture in your like we call stakeholder register. So, and what kind of expectation they have from you and what requirement they have from the communication point of view, when they need this communication by, what is the role in that? Maybe this is a sponsor. So for the sponsor, getting this information right time is key for decision making. So all these things will help you to build your rapport with your stakeholders.
True.
So I cannot we cannot underestimate this stakeholder engagement skill. This is the number one skill I can tell you, which can make or break your project program portfolio.
Got it. Got it. Great. And just adding to that, what would be some of those skills you would say, I initially talked about a little bit on the tools, right? That people invest a lot on tools. Are
Mm.
there any kind of digital skills that people or the project managers should possess when either taking up a role or who are already in a role or performing, but these skills can maybe help them enhance the productivity? Do you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
So we talking about any tool which can help them. When it comes to tool, we talk about this, training and development,
Correct.
and the certification. So that these are the things which you learn from the standards. And standards, let's say PMI standards, are developed by the people who are doing the work, who are the project manager, program manager. They have this is based on the what you call good practices which are applicable in most of the project, most of the program, and all the time. That's what most of the time.
Correct.
So these skills, which we develop in the form of standard for program management, standard for portfolio management on PMBOK, you have a lot of information already there. So going through those standards, learning to become better project program portfolio manager and get the certification will make you better project program manager and the portfolio managers. And of course, these are certification, but we also talk about the personal skills or what do you call them, uh, soft skills. Very
Soft.
important. Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Right. And just to kind of add on that again, when you say soft skills and other kind of interpersonal skills, another factor which I personally feel, and maybe if you could touch upon that as well, is we really need to build the right kind of culture as well. You could have the best of people, you could have the best
Yes.
of tools, but if you don't have the right culture and the kind of environment where people pull each other up rather than pushing each other down, I think that's also plays a very critical role in that. What do you have to say?
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, culture, and that is where we talk about emotional intelligence. As a, of course, we need to make sure the team is high performing, they're motivated, excited. But at the same time, we have to think from the emotional intelligence point of view, because as a project manager, as a program manager, you need to see what others are going through. And, there are five things mentioned here. Intrapersonal. So that means knowing about yourself. What are the skill sets you have, and how do you work more effectively? This is where my yoga teaching come in between, doing meditation or self thinking, listening to yourself. So that can be useful. Interpersonal skills, very important. Your ability to interact and get along with other people. You may find that he's a great project manager, program manager. He can get the job done, but he's not able to work with the team properly. And that is one of the key skills you have to have. How can I work with different level of stakeholders, not the senior manager only, but the team, the people who are working on the grassroots. They have to be empowered by you. So you need to build relationship with them, reputation with them, and that doesn't happen like this. You have to have some listening skills. You need to talk to them. You need to understand what they're going through, especially the current environment we're going through, the COVID environment. Yes, you can say, nobody's talking too much about COVID, they're talking about the war, but you don't forget COVID is not gone away.
Yeah.
Numbers are still there. It's just media has focused somewhere else.
Yeah.
So people are still working from home, and they are going through, they are sometimes in the difficult situation. They have their kids with them, they have their pets with them, they have their family with them. They're working from starting 7 o'clock in the morning to late night, along with doing all the juggling with all these things. So they are going through tough time. So you have to understand how can you improve their working environment. If it is in the office, yes, you can improve differently. But if they are away from or doing remotely, what else can you do? Yeah, you can. That's where you need to think and do some innovative thinking. Uh, Whether you can make your meetings more exciting rather than boring. Tell me the status. Let's make it more fun, or doing something. Finding the time which is suitable for all. So you need to go through the checklist. What are the things I can do as a project manager to make my relationship with my team even better? Uh, Stress management is another skill we talk here, because believe it or not, this is one of the biggest killer. Which if it, and people don't realize that they are under stress. They are going through difficult time. I've seen people actually getting uh, very emotionally disturbed, not because they have any problem. It's just because they're not able to interact anybody. Or when you are going to the offices, you are talking to the various colleagues. You can share your pain or your whatever going through. But when you are working from home remotely in a room, looking the screen whole day, or talking to the people on phone, that is adding a lot of stress. So think about what else can you do to manage your stress better. Maybe doing some exercise, adopting some yoga and meditation, or some listening to song, and go out of the house, walk, talk to people. So
Yeah.
and that's these skills are very important, not as a project manager, but as a team player, as the senior manager. You need to see from there every point of view. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think most of the things you've listed here, right? I mean, since I am also from the same domain, I see it day in, day out. And I will kind of focus more on the stress management these days more than any other skill because, as I said, right? I mean, and you've mentioned it a couple of times as well. Thanks to COVID, things have changed. Everybody is evolving. Those interpersonal skills, the intrapersonal skills, have taken a little bit of a backseat just because now no more people are going to offices. There's no the water cooler calls and discussions, and there is like meetings on screen only. Now all that adds up is a lot of stress.
Mm,
Now we earlier it used to be like the only stress used to be wake up in the morning, get ready, leave the kids, go to office, and once you're in office, it's all about office. Right now,
yeah.
in addition to the office, a lot of things are happening at home. People like me, and again, I put myself in that bucket because I have small kids,
Mm,
and those kids who are not even going to daycares or schools, and
yes.
and they're online studying along with our work. We have to focus on that as well. So all that adds up is only stress, stress, and stress. And then you the work cannot stop, period. End of the day, it really doesn't matter if you have two kids, four kids, doesn't matter even if you have a one single kid at home. Your focus is all kind of split into multiple things, and you have to focus as much as you used to focus when you used to go to office. So
Mm,
those things don't stop, those things don't even change, but the pressure and the stress increases, which eventually changes the general mood that you've listed here. That,
mm.
how can somebody who is constantly under stress be in a positive mood? It's very, very difficult. And your discussion, or your point about the yoga thing, I think that might be working pretty well for you as well, and people who do yoga, because I've heard anybody who's going, doing yoga, some kind of physical exercise, or even meditation, as a matter of fact, I think it definitely helps. But would love you to kind of elaborate a little bit more, share more insights, because even as a project manager or a program manager or as a professional, I think the stress is taking over everything right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, personally, I'm teaching project manager, programming, portfolio manager, and have sometimes many classes, talk to class after class, and sometimes I don't feel that, hey, didn't have any proper break, didn't have a dinner, and and that can add extra stress. But thanks to my daily yoga practice I'm doing, and half an hour, 45 minutes, that actually reset me every day. It's a reset me and bring my energy back. So
Yeah.
I can tell you, no matter how much, it's not just yoga. Pick one skill, walking, maybe walking, cycling, or swimming, or yoga can be done at any time, at anywhere. At home, you have a small room, you can just put a mat and just start doing it. Some stretching and meditate. You sit down, close your eyes. You may feel there's nothing, but actually doing a lot of things. You really energizing yourself.
True.
So these things are really powerful, and of course, and then re-energize and focus on the right thing.
Mm.
When people going for exam, Varun, when they're going to exam, I I have a one-person session with them around week time before their exam. My focus is, of course, what to do in the next 7 days, and what my focus is how can we, when you go to the exam, you will be more ready for passing the exam. Yes, you've done enough for by reading, studying, watching, reading, all these things. But that's not enough. I want you to go to the exam with stress-free mind. So taking the last day as a full break from studies, and taking go to sleep early enough and wake up in the morning, do some exercise, and keep your stress on side, and and have enough oxygen, reach to the center, do some in 50-minute time. If you remember most of the exams at PMP, PgMP, there's 50-minute time. How can you use the time so that you can de-stress yourself and you can go through the exam very smoothly? So I'm giving example of exam, because that's where the people get stressed as well. But it's not only exam. This is your day-to-day project management, program management, or anything you're doing in your life. How can I, stop and then re-energize yourself? And when you are stress-free, believe it or not, you can do more work, better work than when you are stressed.
Got it. Got it. All right. Since we are, at the last leg, I would love you to first, kind of finish off what you had on your mind, and then, at least tell us a little bit, or focus a little bit on, what is vCare program management? What do you guys kind of do? Uh, how can somebody enroll, and what are those key things that you're looking for, uh, especially from a project manager or project management certification or any certification perspective? Tell us a little bit about that. And one of the questions that came in here in the chat as well was, they were hoping there would be a PDO given at the end of this podcast, which is definitely not going to happen. But tell us a little bit about, I saw you have a webinar coming up. So talk us through, about yourself, the work, and how can
Mhm.
people connect so that they can get enrolled as well.
Yeah, actually, if you're looking for PDUs, so that's where you have to join my webinars, and I do invite professionals from the industry, project program portfolio managers. So I'm on the other side this time. Normally I'm at when where Varun is sitting. I'm asking question, and hosting the conversation. So next week, I think the 16th of US time, 16th of March, I have a program which is I've invited one professional. Actually, he's a portfolio director and
Mhm.
working for a very large bank from Australia. So if you can find me on LinkedIn, You can share my connection, and
Yeah.
they will find, connect how to join this program. Anyway, so you please join such program. I do have a YouTube channel, rather two YouTube channels. Lots of videos are there. I think 50 or 60, or maybe it's gone up to 100. I don't know how many. You will learn a lot. Not only learning from me, but there are professionals who have done specific job, whether mega program, whether mega construction work. You will learn from them. So yeah, come and join that. So as a vCare, as my company called vCare Project Management, people used to ask, why did you come up with the name called vCare? Is it V mean virtual project management? I think it's not a bad way to think, because nowadays everything become virtual. But my focus is, we think we care means we are caring for your development, your growth. So that's where the we care stand for. And yes, we say we care project management. Project management covers your program, portfolio, and any other skills you have. So in that frame. But yes, training, consulting, and now I mean also talked about a platform called VXTCC is picking up. A very recently we have implemented this software with Formula One back in UAE, and we're working with Tata Chemicals, and a few other companies are picking up. So that platform is such a great asset, which is going to bring the whole organization one platform without having to need to going for multiple various silo systems. You can just use it, and it will work and do the wonders for you. Anyway, so I'm not here to advertise all those things. More about just because Varun asked me, that's why I'm talking. Otherwise, my focus is to talk about what are the things I can give you at this stage, and later on, more than welcome to please join me or call me. I have a number there, and my one email address is there. So any way you can contact me. I love to help you out in any way, whether you are looking for a career growth or any certification or anything where I can make your life a little bit better than what it is. Whether believe it or not, I do have a what do you call on a virtual yoga sessions. I started and stopped because there was some travel and other things coming between. But I'm going to restart very soon. So please, if you find the channel or connection, please join that. You will learn not from other side of me.
Yes. Just to add, here Desi Sharma is asking, is it all online? Uh, why don't you answer this question? You just answered, Desi.
Sorry, which part is online?
Everything that you do, right? I mean, you just mentioned the name of the company itself is
Yeah, yeah.
virtual, so I'm sure everything is virtual. But are there any kind of physical classrooms? I saw some of your pictures in the past. I have seen where you
Yes.
have actually done physical, classrooms as well. So what about that?
Yeah, yeah. V doesn't mean virtual actually. As I just say, somebody asked me what V means virtual. No, V means V as WE. It should be
Got it.
V.
Got
V,
it.
V care.
Got it.
Yes, everything is available on this site, vcareprojectmanager.com. And on that, there's a link where you can book a time with me. It's a free 15-20 minute, half in, while the system allows 15 minutes, but I can be spending half an hour with you, no obligation, nothing. You can be asking me anything. I have people just passing the colleges, and they just book a time. Once you book the time, it's your time. Whether you're buying anything with me or not doesn't matter.
Right.
I do feel that yes, if you join my program, great. If you don't join the program, you got something out of this discussion. Hopefully, you will able to pass that information or learning to your colleagues and your friends, or maybe who knows where you are impacting. So please join and talk to me, and I love to help you out. And this does not mean that I'm free and nothing to do. I have a lot of things to do. But if you have booked my time, the time is for you.
Got it. All right. So going back, of course, you mentioned about the webinar as well a little bit. So guys, of course, you can get connected. Dharam Singh is the LinkedIn ID. You can look it up. Otherwise, we have put all the details on Twitter as well. I have tagged all his IDs on Twitter, so you can definitely find him either on his website through the social media handles. And if you're not able to, of course, you can reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to connect. But at the same time, like he just now mentioned, you could connect with him and get those 20-30 minutes, a lot of clarity around what your focus should be, what direction would be something that you should go in. And that's definitely something which not a lot of people do, so I would encourage you guys. His website, as you can see, is vcareprojectmanagement.com. V is not we, it's V as in Varun. So vcare projectmanagement.com. You can always reach out to him at 650-283-0123. And his email ID is dharam, DHARAM, at vcareprojectmanagement.com. Doesn't really matter where the headquarters are now. The point is, his headquarter is all online right now. He is available online. You can reach out to him through his website. Now, another question: what are the mentoring programs versus training programs? Anything you want to add to that or say around that?
See, okay, so I do have a training program that goes for 3 days, 4 days, like PMP, PgMP, or portfolio management. But I also have a mentoring program that's called personal mentoring program, where I'm going to work with you one to one, and the group mentoring program where we have a PgMP group mentoring program, PfMP group mentoring program, or PMP or any others. So, and there are recorded mentoring programs and other few other things. So every program has, of course, different costing and different way of learning and getting benefit out of that. And that's why I'm saying, going to suggest you, if you have a specific need, please book some time with me. I will take you through and suggest you the program which work for you. It's not about the money, it's about which work program will work for you. Sometimes, even though the group program is cheaper, but you say, hey, group program is not only learning from me, but you're learning from the group of other people, 4 or 5 people from other part of the world. And you build a network with them and you continue to learn with them. Even though I'm not in the program, I'm the program finished, you continue to learn from them. So based on your situation, based on your affordability, I will guide you the right program for you. At the end of the day, you should be benefiting from that whole program and get your certification or anything you're looking for. I can be helping you. And the things which are not mentioned in my website, which and that is based on the need. People come to me, hey Dharam, I am a project manager. I'm wanting to get into program management. Do you have a program for me? Something, as a mentor program. I do such thing as the personal mentor program, where we will book 11, 10 or 11 sessions, and week by week we will work on some skills and with some homework and make you a better project manager, better program manager, transition from project to program or program to portfolio or anything. So I do get all kind of calls. Hey Dharam, I am new into the project management. How can you make me a high performing project manager? Anyway, so anything you have any requirement, I will suggest you to book some time with me and go through your requirement. You can tell me in advance, Dharam, this is what I'm looking for, whether particular certificate or growth, or I just want to talk to you because you're an amazing person. I will love to do that.
Got it. That's great. And as we come to the almost the end of this podcast, a couple of things that I would encourage to those people who would be listening. uh, this session or this podcast is not specifically for people who are already project managers,
Mhm.
already program managers, already portfolio managers. This podcast and this discussion or this conversation is something that should poke you a little bit, even if you are in a different domain, even if you are in a different field, to think about what is project management, what is program management, why should I maybe think of getting into this domain, why should I maybe try to call Dharam and see if this is something for me. So nothing should stop you, even if you have basic IT knowledge. Again, this is something which I'm speaking on my behalf, and I would love Dharam to also chime in. Even if you have some basic IT knowledge, even if you have the necessary education, and even if you don't, there is nothing that can stop you from becoming a better person, a professional, a project manager, or a program manager. It's just that the first step. And people like Dharam Singh, who have taken this as like a full-time role of mentoring people, and if they are giving you that liberty of using their free time for your own benefit, I think there is nothing that should be stopping you. You should be venturing out, you should be exploring. I initially mentioned, uh, due to COVID, due to certain other things that are happening around us, there is always that constant fear of losing a job, not getting some growth in the current job. Even while people are interviewing, most of the times, occasionally I would still say, people are constantly looking in the resume for some kind of validations. Now these certifications do add up. Everybody who is in this IT world would vouch that we have to constantly add something to our skill set. We cannot be I personally believe there's not even a single individual who has not added something to their resume, even if they are still at the same place, same position, but still they would have added it. So my take on this conversation definitely was, there is nobody who would come and give you everything served in your plate. You have to do the first step, you have to take that first step, you have to nudge yourself, come out of your comfort zone, and just talk to people like Dharam, who might be able to give you a different perspective about certain things. They might be able to get you away from that, the everything could be looking scary to you, but they will help you fight that thing. But to that, Dharam, before we kind of wrap this up, I would like you to kind of also add and give some of those points that any individual, be it somebody in the IT, somebody who's just coming out of college, fresh grad, or somebody who has 20 plus years of experience,
Hmm.
how and why, why this would be something that they should be looking into.
Actually, this is, first of all, the conversation we had was great. But what I wanted to give one, if you take one thing out of this conversation is, and I will relate this with my own experience, actually, and I will tell you why. One of the important thing is have a vision for yourself. Whatever stage, just started, you just came out of the university, or you are 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, just see where you are and just create a vision where in the future. I mean, it can be unrealistic to you at this stage, but if you have a mindset, you positive thinking, you keep looking towards that direction, it will happen to you. Now, coming back to my own example, if I go back 15 years, from 15, 16 years, I was the project manager. I can do the project very well, but I was a very shy project manager. You can, if you ask me to stand up in front of five people, even if in my team, I was very like I'm in Australia at the time, and my heart was pumping like anything. So from that person to the person who is now making other people improving their productivity or doing the project program portfolio management was not even, I cannot dream at the time. But I had a vision to myself, for myself, hey, I wanted to be one person who can be, awesome person who can help other people. And I wanted to be a leader in my space. So as a 15 reverse 15 years, I as I said, I coming as a very shy person from project manager to this level. It does not happen in a day. It took, I have to put my efforts to do the right trainings, and of course finding the right mentors is always, that was one of the things. And sometimes I found it, or sometimes they found me, and it worked out in a way where I wanted to be. So just because I was positive and know that this is my place, and I got there. So that's what I'm saying. Create a vision for yourself and see what are the things you have to do. Make a roadmap. Build a roadmap for you. Hey, now it's 2022, and from now to 5 years from now, how and where I want it to be. Okay, you are a project manager, you want to be program manager. I'm the program manager, you want to CEO of the organization, or maybe you want to be the leader of the organization. Maybe you are the leader of the country. Whatever it is, something, create something unrealistic to you at this stage, but believe in it, and you will be there.
Perfect. Perfect. Great, great message. Again, before we end this podcast, guys, you can reach out to Dharam Singh. You can connect with him on LinkedIn or email him dharam at vcareprojectmanagement.com. He could be reached out at 650-283-0123. His website is vcareprojectmanagement.com. Once again, Dharam, thank you so much.
Yeah, just before you close,
Yeah,
make sure it is +1. If you are in US, you know the number. But if you're
yeah,
calling or contact me from outside, make sure it is +1 and 650-283-0123.
perfect.
Sorry to
Thanks.
interrupt you.
Yeah, no, thanks for adding that. Actually, that makes sense because this is a global podcast as well. I'm sure a lot of people outside of US would also be reaching out. So, guys, make sure it is +1 650-283-0123. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to enrolling myself in the near future. And I'll let you know, everyone, how it goes because I have been contemplating on this for a very long time. But after this session, I'm and again I'm saying it on a podcast as well that I would definitely be doing this very soon, and I'm really looking forward to you all getting inspired by this amazing talk by Dharam Singh from vcareprojectmanagement.com. Thank you once again, Dharam, for your time, and look forward to having another session in the near future. Thank you once again.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Varun. And as I said, you're doing a great job. So keep doing it. And you have my support and my, whatever you need from my side. I'll be happy to come back or happy to discuss with you and your audience for anything they need. Thank you
Sure.
very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Take
great
care.
day. Bye bye.